Hello, and welcome to another behind the scenes from a board game publisher. I am Peter Vaughan with Cardboard Alchemy, and it is a Friday, or whenever you're watching this, because you could catch these on your weekend right before you're about to play a bunch of games, or you can join us anytime you need a board game chat. So I am here joined by Rosie in the comments, helping us get our stream going. She's fresh from her convention appearance at AirCon. Fresh, just how you feel after a convention.
So fresh.
I also am just recovering from Gamma because I had a good time at Gamma and paid the price for going to a game convention. And I'm actually getting ready for it's an exciting time because I'm going to China in 2 days. God, it's 2 days. To go visit the manufacturing plants that are making our games. We're talking to Longpack, that is working on Andromeda's Edge and Critter Kitchen, and we're talking to eStar that helped us make Flamecraft, and we're working with eStar on some advanced projects. So it's going to be very exciting, especially for, in particular, Andromeda's Edge is on the production line right now, which means that when I come back, I should have pictures of miniatures getting produced, of wood pieces, at the paper plant. It's just going to be really exciting to see the whole thing. In fact, I'm really hopeful that we get to see a Andromeda's Edge white box edition, which is the entire game put together, not necessarily with art on every piece, but the entire box assembled, all the pieces, all the trays, all the stuff. And I'm joining Noah Edelman from Game Trace, who's also going to see. He's going to be visiting Longpack as well because he is making a lot. He makes all of his game trays there, and they make X trays and Y trays. He's got a game project that they're working on called Forsaken, and he's also got some secret stuff in the works. So he's going to some plants that I'm not even going to see. But I am excited for the ones that we're going to go check out, which are related to Andromeda's Edge and Critter Kitchen. So let's see. So this is my last stream for a little bit. That's not to say that we're going to cut these off. We're going to have Rosie will carry the torch and talk about games with you every Friday, and then I'll be back soon enough. I just gotta do a couple. I gotta go to a couple spots in Asia. So let's go over what we're going to do today. So one of the things that we like to do on this stream is we like to shout out a crowdfunding campaign, or in the case of today, a game that's delivered from crowdfunding, because it's a big deal to go on crowdfunding and ask for support to make a thing. And I remember when this designer said that they had a dream to make a game, and it was Josh Wood, and the game is Let's Go to Japan. It's kind of funny because we're going to be talking about Let's Go to China, but we're going to today talk about Let's Go to Japan, which just arrived in the studio. I got the deluxe edition, and I will say, like, it is wrapped. It is a special gift. It feels like they did this on purpose in a special cloth. So we're going to open this up and see what it looks like. This is really, really nice packaging. And I think that's a neat touch of what they did. They also sent me, because the top pledge also got ceramic bowls. So this is a first. We do a lot of merch in our campaigns, but I was really impressed by AEG's dedication to, a lot of special touches, especially because, I'm looking at the box right now. There's a foil edge. Somebody get it in there. I don't know if it's going to shine there, but there's a foil touch on the edges here. It's pretty neat. Let's go open this up and see what it looks like. I'm really excited by this game because Josh was going on his own trip to Japan, and it got cut short. It didn't happen because of the pandemic. So he actually turned his desire to visit Japan into a game, which is a really fun idea. Wow, it is chock full of deluxe bits. I mean, these are some chunky, awesome looking bits. Lots of cute bags for tokens. Oh my god, this is awesome. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm just excited that when you get a game in from Kickstarter, and a lot of effort's been put into it to make it thematic and deluxeified. Oh, it's beautiful too. All the cards are something else. They're big. They're tarot cards. There's fun art on everything. And you've got these really nice quality boards. Oh, wow. There are so many tokens in here. Really nice quality boards. The gameplay, as I take it, is that you actually plot your trip, and then at the end of the game, you execute the entire trip. It's just kind of neat. And washi tape as well. Something we have not made on one of our games, but that's pretty neat. So my feature today is Let's Go to Japan. I will play it after I go to China, and I will report back on the gameplay as well. I would love to hear in the comments when we get to the questions and answers what everybody else has been backing, what you've received or bought at a con or a store. What are you going to play? What are you looking forward to? So
I have a game that I will talk about later that just arrived that I'm
great
excited about, which you might not be excited about, but I am.
Interesting. Juicy. I like all games, so I don't know that you could surprise me with one that I don't want to play. But we'll see. That's an interesting challenge. So let's see. So we talked about Let's Go to Japan. And briefly we talked about Let's Go to China. So I believe we can move on then. If anyone has any questions about the trip, though, feel free to ask. I am very excited because in addition to the China portion of the trip, there is there's two other portions of my trip. One is I'm going to Thailand, which I've always wanted to go to Thailand. And I'm going to a couple different cities in Thailand. And then I'm capping off the adventure in Singapore. I'm super excited to meet Sandara and to just find out what Singapore is like. Bring on delicious food. Exactly. I am pumped. This is basically a foodie tour. For anyone who knows, I love, I've done all sorts of things in Los Angeles where I've had groups of people all searching for the best burrito or the best hot dog or the best burger or best sushi. I'm super excited for the best food Thailand has. A friend of mine reached out to me and said that there's 200 types of mangoes that are in Thailand, and I'm blown away by the possibilities of what is over there. Anyway, we can talk about that in the comments if anybody wants to go into that. Let's talk more about games. We just sent out an update for Critter Kitchen, so if you haven't seen that update, we're on track. We're doing a great job on Critter Kitchen. It's we're final touches, right? So we're doing all the files. All the wood files are actually turning in right now, which means I might see them at the plant. We'll see, but Andromeda's Edge for sure. But also we've been working on that merch, the last little pieces, the towels, the recipe cards, all the stuff. The tote bag. Oh my God, the tote bag. We decided to change the back of the tote bag to the water market, and Sandara painted a new top for the water market. It's really gorgeous. So we're doing all the final touches. Thanks to just want to do a shout out to all the whole Cardboard Alchemy team, because we're moving straight from Andromeda's Edge production right into Critter Kitchen production. It is no breaks. The foot is on the gas the entire time. So it's an exciting time. Let's see. We also need to cover the winners. Oh, thank you so much, Stephanie. We went into the process of making the cookie cutters. So a shout out to Rosie also for that, because Rosie took our existing cutters and looked really carefully at what would make a good cookie, where would the cookie parts get stuck. It's an important mission. You don't want people later going like, oh, I kicked this part of the raccoon fur out of the cookie. Raccoon fur and cookies. No, that's not a thing I wanted to put together. Thank you, Ellie, for checking out we went over how we're working on the cookie cutters. It's just one example of how we just dial in and get those all those parts made. We also talked about the solo mode, which has been going really well. Excited for that. Rosie also battled the solo opponent McDonald's recently and was cursing out this corporation. It was taking all of her stuff.
I
So
enjoy when a game has the ability for you to get very angry at a cozy game. Like you can just be like, and because they don't exist, but they do, you can just be like, "Damn you, McDonald's," and
yeah,
you know.
it's exciting, especially because it's been streamlined to just be the critics have a twist, but the zoo chefs, we took out the part where it just felt like you had to do, oh, this rule, that rule, this rule, that rule. It definitely got tighter to just the basics of, hey, let's focus. We don't let McDonald's have a restaurateur. Instead, we give them stars to start, which power them up in a different way. So it really was a good focus on how to make an opponent. There was a great moment when we were working on the solo that I remember Brad saying, because I was like, oh, the AI, it's not fair that they don't get this. And Brad's like, we're not being fair to the corporation that's trying to crush us. We don't care what their game experience is like. What we care is what your game experience is like. And do you have to maintain so many parts of their game? And luckily you don't. You can focus on your own turn, which is really great. But we have something else. Let's see. Because we're catching up on streams here. I want to talk about a couple of different things, like letters. People have written letters to Cardboard Alchemy. In fact, I believe we've reached 300 letters. And I am woefully behind on letters because I've been busy making the games. I apologize that I have slipped due to work and sickness and all of the production time. It's really been crunchy around here. So I have about, let's say, like trying to get a whole bunch of letters out the door before I go on this trip. And I'm writing furiously while packing. So don't worry, I'm going to try and do a big bunch of letters. Now, if I don't get to everybody's letter, you are still, thank you, Stephanie. I could be writing on the plane. But basically, I just want everyone to know you are going to get a reply back. If you've written into Cardboard Alchemy, we are so thankful for that. We're going to send everybody a Stuff the Magic Dragon promo that writes in. And in the future, if I get this process down, we'll have other fun things to give people when they write in. But we are going to get everybody this promo. And a lot of people have been asking because, it's definitely been a long time. So thank you for your patience. A special shout out to all the young kids that have written in, because I've gotten pictures. I have gotten fun stories. In particular, for example, I know there's a 6-year-old, Caitlin Gardner, who is waiting for her letter, and her dad is so nice and patient. So thank you, Caitlin. It was awesome to hear that you can't play Flamecraft yet, but you want to play Flamecraft. So those are the kind of things that are so magical, because while we're making these games, to hear that these games are appreciated and that they've made a difference in people's lives is unbelievable. And we're super thankful for that. So the letters is one of those things I'm going to catch up on. Luckily, there is time after these 2 productions. Finally, we're going to have a breather. Although we're going to talk about what we're working on next. Some of you are waiting for that in this update. I know that for sure. But I also want to talk about winners, because we do usually have a game contest around here. And one of the things we did recently is we played Letter Tycoon on the stream. And we have some winners to announce. We gave winners for anyone who, if you commented on our YouTube videos, if you played along online, and if you followed our last challenge. We picked 3 winners recently. So we have one for Gibbon Tessie, Miho, and Martin Towell. So all 3 of you could get in charge. You could get in contact with us if you write. We'll have the email in the YouTube, but it's hello@cardboardalchemy.freshdesk.com. You can claim your prize. Now we're gonna have more prizes when I get back from the trip. We're gonna have a newsletter, which is gonna have more chances to win stuff. We like to give away stuff around here, so count on more prizes all summer. We also have fun, exciting discounts and specials coming up in our store. So there's lots of fun things coming at Cardboard Alchemy. But thank you for everybody who played Letter Tycoon as well. That was a lot of fun. That game is Brad's first design. And Letter Tycoon is published by Breaking Games. And the new travel edition of Letter Tycoon is out. That's why we were celebrating it. I love that game. I can play that game anytime. In fact, I should bring that to China because I've actually been challenged by some of our manufacturers to a game night. So that's going to be fun. Thank you for that shout out. It's a lot of fun, that game, because I'm not the best wordsmith, but when I can play a game against, but what we did in that game is we made it so that you can throw out letters that you don't like. You can always refresh your hand, and some of the letters have powers, meaning that you can, if you're playing against, say, Brad Brooks, or someone just as good as Brad Brooks, and they're, say, buying up all the good letters, you can still buy the letters with powers. And as we saw in the matchup that we did on the stream, go back and watch some of those episodes, there was a lot of chances where those powers did come into play, and you can get a lot of extra points off of those. So that was a lot of fun. All right, so now should we, before we get to questions and answers, I did promise a little something. I know a lot of people are waiting. So there's this game you might have heard of called Flamecraft, and we are making this standalone sequel to Flamecraft, and it is called Flamebound. So we're really excited around here because Manny and Sandara have been working on this game with us for a while. We're getting closer and closer to the day, talking about when it's going to come on Kickstarter. And one of the things, it's still a little ways because we're still fine-tuning this game, but I will briefly explain what it's like. The dragons are going on an adventure. The dragons are going to leave town and find out where they came from. And there's this lore in the world about the elder dragons. There's a fire elder, but there's also a water elder. There's a lightning. There's a storm elder. There's elder dragons that are whispered about. And our dragons, our heroes, are going to leave town, and they're going to discover the world around them. They're going to find critters. They're going to find caves. They're going to find new dragon types. They're going to find eventually the elders. In the game, you play in a storybook format where you're going along a path, and it's a competitive game. But at the end of each path, everybody's score determines what page you flip to next. So it's really fun and exciting, and it's got dice. So we're rolling dice, and we're finding out some of your dice are going to have flame on them, and you got to keep the flame alive during the adventure. Otherwise, you got to camp and rejuvenate. It definitely has art by Sandara. Flamebound is the continuation of her world. So she is extremely invested in these dragons and where they're going to go next. And Manny has been writing a lot of stories about it. Together, they are cooking up so many interesting parts to this whole thing. And each storybook will feature a sort of a dedication to different areas. So, for example, one, they might adventure to the swamps, then they might go into the mountains, and there's differences to the way each storybook plays. So it's going to be a lot of fun to explore, and we're going to go over all of Flamebound as we go. But one of the things that we wanted to do, especially as Rosie has come on, and her channel has been introducing people to Flamecraft. Many people have told me they found Flamecraft thanks to Rosie. So one of the things we're going to do is a behind the scenes about how we make Flamebound as we go. And we had thought of this idea, since I'm going to China, that we could talk about the process of making a miniature and what that's like. Miniatures have to be made so much farther ahead in games. And one of the advantages we have in Flamebound is we know we're going to have miniatures. And we can make them now so that the game comes out faster we're able to decide on the adventuring miniature. So for those that have seen us, we've added a Series 2 miniatures to Flamecraft. So that's the Bread Dragon and the Iron Dragon all getting their second iteration. Well, now in Flamebound, they're going to have a third iteration, a Series 3 version of these artisan dragons. And in preparation for this trip to China, one of the things we did is we had Sandara draw orthographic drawings of the new dragons, and our modeler, Eric Tosco, has built STL files, and we've sent them to China already so that we could get what is the first stage in miniature making, the red wax sample. And if I'm lucky enough, we're going to see a red wax sample from my trip. If not, we will have pictures of Redbox samples. And what we're going to do is on these streams, and definitely also in our Discord, we're going to document the process of making these miniatures. Just something if you're interested in seeing how these things happen. It's really kind of a neat process. And a lot of times at the Kickstarter stage, you just see the end. You see all this cool mini, but I thought it'd be neat to kind of dive in and show you. So with that said, I want to, let's see, I want to go over a couple of these miniatures. Let's see. But I also want to, see if I can find this in time. I want to find where Manny has, he's got, I believe he's got some names for these, but nothing's locked in stone. We're just having fun with the design so far. But these dragons, let's see if I can find. Let's see if I got the cards here. 1 second. These dragons that I'm going to show are, they are akin to the dragons that have been in town, but they are not, they're not the same dragons that we saw in town. So you're going to see a new Iron Dragon. You're going to see a new Potion Dragon. These have backstories. These dragons they've been in town perhaps, but they're the first ones that are going on an adventure. So I'm going to show you the first one that we wanted to talk about, which is our Iron Dragon. So you can see that this is an orthographic drawing. This is what Sandara does to get the modeler, in this case Eric, all prepared for the best success at modeling. And what you got to start with is you've got to start with what we call in modeling as a T-pose. And a T-pose helps you just see the model for, like, before you have to bend its legs or curve its tail, you need to be able to see exactly where all the parts are. So this T-pose is for our Iron Dragon, which Manny has been naming Ferris. So Ferris has a little bit of armor, has a wrench, ready to fix stuff out on the road, and a bag. And in our future streams, we're going to show how Ferris has been crafted in the next stage by Eric into a 3D model. This is how it starts. Sandara gets Eric all set up with exactly what all the pieces are. Now I have one more to show because we are going ahead with 2 dragons in our first look here. So we also have Graham, our bread dragon, who has a very adorable croissant pouch. This is the T-pose for Graham. Now, what I find kind of funny about this is Sandara's been drawing these dragons for a while in various rough poses and so forth. But I do believe that she gets inspired a little bit by some of the plush pictures that we've seen in our Facebook group. If you haven't joined in our Facebook group, there's a lot of great pictures of some of our dragons getting ready for an adventure. So I love watching like that sort of back and forth where Sandara gets more and more inspired about what gear these dragons are going to be taking on their adventure and putting that into the pose. This is a really cute pose. Graham is pointing to which direction to go because this is our map keeper. The bread dragon is going to be finding the way. So those are 2 really early sneak peeks into Flamebound. Like I said, we're going to do more exploration. The next video will show the model, the STL is what we call it, that sort of 3D representation. And we'll show some of the notes between Eric and Sandara about how to get it there. And then we're also going to go over what the plant then does in their first round of notes, including their first sample. So that is the that is the sneak peek. I hope everybody liked it. Of course, Sandara has drawn the entire adventuring cast. We have all 7 dragons. There's a new dragon type. There's a new dragon of that type going on the adventure. One of my favorites, which I don't have ready to show you right now, is that the fancy dragon has a guitar like a bard. It's going to be really fun to see what all of the dragons do on this crazy adventure. But the fancy dragon is awesome. Just such an awesome adventurer. I believe Manny has named them Lyric, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. So, well, we'll share all of this on our Facebook group, in our Discord, and so we're gonna share as we know more about the adventure, as we're ready to start testing it. So, one of the best behind the scenes things to do if you want to get in is you can join our Discord, and then we have a chance to play Flamebound coming up. And we're going to be testing it all the way through the process. We've already been testing it quite a bit with like designers in Los Angeles. We're going to take it to more cons. I'll probably be bringing it to UK Games Expo to show Rosie. But in the Discord, you don't have to be in the same spot as us. You can actually just jump in on a test if you become a member of our Discord and you want to see that behind the scenes. It's been a lot of fun to be testing that game. Of course, we're focusing on getting the most recent 2 games done before we go full in on Flamebound. Dice rolling. Can't wait to see if the unique dice are going to be dragon themed. We are going to have unique dice. It's going to be, it's interesting because Manny has made a prototype of the dice. And to do that, he's colored in some of the pips on some dice. And in the way he colored those pips in, I've already gotten component ideas of how to make the dice sparkly and interesting. I think it's a really cool effect that he's achieved in just the prototype dice. And there are custom, I can't really talk too much more about it yet, but there are going to be custom dice for sure. I don't have an answer to all the questions on Flamebound, so forgive me. But all in good time. So we've been working on it a while. It has been a long time in the coming. Obviously, I know a lot of people are excited for it, and I appreciate the patience. We are going to make it the best game possible before getting it to Kickstarter. And there's new dragons to talk about when we get there as well, because you're going to meet allies that are not necessarily the dragons you've ever seen before. So when Ferris is out there, we're going to meet dragons that aren't iron dragons. So, yeah. Nice. Well, I believe with that, we're going into question and answer. I got some time. I got some hangout time if we want to talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Shall I join?
Yeah, sure. Come on in.
This is how we go. How do you do that again? Not like that.
There we go.
I hate that setting. Who wants that setting?
Who wants that setting?
But first thing I want to say is I'm working on a video where it's what your favorite Flamecraft dragon says about you. So if anyone has like what their favorite Flamecraft dragon is and what they think it says about them, then it's on the Discord or message it now. My favorite one is potato.
Let's give an example. So you want someone to say, because Manny had a really great hot dog answer, right? That'd be funny.
Yeah, Manny did.
What was Manny's hot dog answer?
Let's pull it up. Let's have a look. But my favorite's potato.
Okay.
I like being warm and cozy and wearing jackets because potatoes. That's because I'm British and we eat those. Manny's really good at it.
Yeah, he is really good. He's a wordsmith
He said, "Hot dog, you live for the minute and like to take risks. Mustard, mayo relish, caramel sauce, whatever."
That's right. It's all about the sauce.
And my favorite one I wrote was Venti. You live life to the fullest. You could go bigger, but you know your limits because Venti isn't the biggest cup of coffee.
Yeah, that's fun. All right, I have to think about my favorite dragon and what it says about me.
It can't be your dragon.
I'm not going to pick my dragon because I also really like Venti, but I don't like coffee, so that's not what it says about me.
Ellie says, if your favorite dragon is Buddy, you're an extrovert that loves to collect introverts.
That's a good one. That's a great answer.
I love that.
That's what Buddy says about you. Yeah, that's a really fun idea. I like it. Thank you for.
And then I'm going to just hold up the cards and then read them out in this video, so you could have your idea read out by me in a slightly less snivelly voice. Hopefully, that's the plan.
Nice.
Ellie just asked what my recent cozy game purchase was. I want to see if Peter would play this.
Oh yeah. Let's go. Let's see.
Bridgerton love letter.
Sure, I love Love Letter.
Do you love
This is
Bridgerton?
probably. I don't know Bridgerton, but you know what? This is probably the most thematic love letter that's been made, right?
And they know what they're doing because they put the next series is like love interest on the back.
Oh yeah, nice.
So I ordered this from Meeples and Mulligans, who is a Nottingham-based shop.
Nice.
Dave, who runs it, is really lovely. So be sure to get in touch with him if you want to order stuff in the UK. He also puts sweets and like goodies in your parcels. It's really sweet.
Here's what I want to know about all the love letters that are getting made, because I mentioned on a stream that I've been playing the Star Wars one with my son, where one of the top two cards are Jabba the Hutt and Luke, and there's a twist to the Star Wars one, just like in the way the cards work. So I'm wondering if they put that mechanical twist on every one of these.
I know the Marvel one, you're playing against Thanos. So someone is Thanos.
Okay.
And everyone else is trying to defeat Thanos, and he's trying to collect up the gems.
Okay. Interesting.
It's quite good. I'm a fan of like vanilla love letter. So
I mean, I am too, but it really excites me that you don't just put a theme on it, that you actually change it up.
This fits it very well, though, so I'd be surprised if they change it. But you do get diamonds with it, because in the show, there's the diamond of the season, so I think that's quite appropriate.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will unbox it on camera properly, so I haven't opened it yet.
Nice.
And I also got spots.
Okay, that looks cute. I really like the dice on the dogs.
This is the most recommended game that I haven't got. Everyone goes, "Have you played Spots yet? Have you played Spots?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to get Spots."
I have to admit, I do like when dice are used in a creative way. For example, there's this game. That game was made called Dice Hospital, and it was really neat because they made the little ambulances, and then you're just drafting out of there, and you're using
games, yeah.
Dice. You're using dice as workers. I also like, there was a I won't forget this because it's called Woodcraft. The year that everything had to have craft at the end of it, because Flamecraft started a trend. Woodcraft was interesting because it's every die represented wood, and they were the wooden dice. And then when you saw a 4 into a 2 and a 1 and a 1 if you wanted to, so you could like cut the dice down. It was really thematic to the whole gameplay. So I like when people think about that. There's also been great games where the dice are it's not about the value, it's about just grabbing, like, having certain. Sometimes it is about the value. There's games where it's the color of the die and the value of the die, and sometimes you're drafting for which one matters.
Yeah.
So I like that.
I just went to Aircon and I played a roll and flip and write.
Okay. Roll and flip and write.
So there's a group pool card where you flip them, but your dice are your independent selection. And it's by the same person that designed Get On Board, which is one of my favorite.
Okay, yeah.
And I finally got to play it, and it's really good. They're very juicy pens, when there's like a juicy pen, you're like, oh,
nice.
This is fresh. It's really good. I really enjoyed it, so I'll be on the lookout for that.
Yeah. So anyway, I like the look of Spots because I like the idea that your white dice with it really feels fun and thematic that you got those on the dogs.
It's cute, and I like dogs, so
there you go.
As of right now, my dog is just looking at me. So everyone has that picture in their mind. My dog's just there, looking at me. Why? You've had your dinner.
When will you be done with this stream? When can we talk about food?
He's had food.
There's always more food.
But yeah,
you know what I mean.
I played loads of games. I know you didn't get to play as many things at Gamma. I played about 11 or so games at Aircon, but some people played like 35, 40 games. I was like, how? How? They're not just quick games. I'm very impressed when people do that.
And it was all Dwellings of Eldervale. They played 40 games of that.
I did get to play Dwellings of Eldervale.
I'm excited by this.
In the flesh.
It's great.
And it was really, really fun. We had a lot of fun. And I really liked how we didn't really do much of a teach because my friends owned it and bought it. Very kindly brought it with them. They drove, but it was still very heavy for them to bring.
Yeah, it's a big box.
And I kept doing this thing where, because I know playing Andromeda's Edge on TTS with you, I was just like, oh, this is like moons. Oh, this is like that. And they're like, we don't know. Stop it.
Yeah. There are no moons.
There are no moons. But it was really cool, like getting to see the sound. I mean, I heard the sound bases if I went really close, just because the room was very noisy.
Oh, yeah.
but it was really cool, really impressive. And they were clearly in love with their copy. So, and the immediate setup, just incredible, just straight to it with your little.
That is the goal. Yeah. I mean, we're trying to do the same thing with Andromeda's Edge. You just pull out the blue player and you're good to go. Your ships are ready. All your stuff is ready. The trays for the command carrier have all the buildings in them. The satellite has the tactics cards ready to go. Shuffle. You know, if you shuffle it, the last thing you do is put it away. Then you're ready to like literally just play on the table.
Yeah, a few people I was chatting to about Andromeda's Edge, and afterwards they're like, "Thanks for making me jealous that I didn't back it." And I'm like, "I'm sorry." I kept just talking about it to everyone because like it's so cool.
I always mean the purple player. That's correct in every game.
I also got this question. Mark says he plays it very regularly solo, which is awesome.
Which game have you been involved in that has taken the longest time to develop, and how long was it? Speaking of Dwellings of Elder Vale, it probably wins because Dwellings was a 7-year process from start to production. That doesn't mean that we were working on it the whole time, though. So it was more like I had this idea for a world that had 8 different magical, because believe you me, magical energies are coming back because I mean, Flamebound, I didn't even ask Manny to do it, but it's got all these different elemental energies in there. I love some of the lore of fantasy. And so, yes, we're even making in Whisperwood, which we're working on, that's got all these different elemental forces in it. So I was looking for something that played a little bit like a game I played, Lords of Magic, a long time ago, and has these like pie wedges of different elements. And you start in one like fire, and then you go to try and conquer, you know, earth or air or whatever. And then if you take over that production, then it's like Lords of Magic was a real-time strategy game where you could have different pie wedges and you were trying to hold on while all the other opponents, AI or human opponents, were trying to take you out. And that concept was started years ago, but then the first iteration of that game, I didn't even think it was going to be a worker placement game, because I'd played Puerto Rico and I wanted some action selection with that I lead, you follow kind of mechanism. That's actually where Dwelling started, was let's build a fantasy version of those types of games. Let's not make another game about farming. Let's make a game about
there are not enough games about farming.
I mean, I know, how dare I take away the shortage of make it more shortage of farming games. But we wanted that, and then Luke made versions of that. Actually, when Luke and I started working on it, what we would do, something that did not work out for me, but we tried it, was he would work on the prototype and then mail it to LA, and then I would work on the prototype and then mail it back. And we tried that as a way of getting us both to get the co-design. In the end, his versions were always better. I always liked what he was doing, and I was changing stuff that, I was trying to put story in there. Yeah, someday I'm going to get a fantasy game that has interactive choices, and your choices matter, and what you do affects everything. I had it so that in early copies of Dwellings, if everybody recruited dwarves, like you could recruit any type of worker, and if you recruited dwarves, then there was a story about how all the gold got mined out of the hills. And so the game would change based on what workers people drafted. And all of that was in Dwellings and didn't work. Like story and exploration all took too long. It just watered down what turned out to be the core is worker placement. So we just focused on that core. And when Luke put that version back on the table, it sung. It was absolutely what we wanted it to be.
Some games work really well with story added in. One of my favorite one is Above and Below. But if you remove that aspect of Above and Below, it's a very sort of simple resource, sort of collecting your bed kind of game. So it needs that, and I like that about it. But you've got to like balance it, haven't you? It's like
it's interesting. I feel like they've done a really good job of giving you a 50-50, but borderline, it actually sometimes feels like I would rather play just the story part of Near and Far, or I just want to play the worker placement part of Near and Far. I do like Above and Below a lot, and I'm always the person who wants to gamble and go do the storytelling. 100%.
Same.
I am not playing on the surface. I want to gamble everything.
Yeah.
And if I lose, so what? I'm going to read all the stories. That's what I want.
Yeah, because so Doug, my partner, will always go the resource routes. Be like, I'm collecting apples, and I'm like, but there's stories to be read. And what's really fascinating is that mechanic, the resource mechanic in Above and Below, is literally what the River Valley Glassworks game is. Effectively, you are trying to get them.
Oh, interesting.
You're trying to collect up. It goes rare to least rare, and you want to get the sort of most common ones further along because you're going to get more of those and score
Right.
more.
Yeah,
And I was every time I explain the game to someone, I was like, "Have you played Above and Below?" Because if they have, I can go, "Cool, you know the resource collecting thing? It's this."
that's this game, yeah. That's
yeah.
actually a really good crowdfunding shout out. All Play launched River Valley Glassworks this week. Looks really adorable. Art by Andrew Bosley. It looks like creative play. I haven't played it, but Rosie's played it because I saw your TikTok.
I've got the retail prototype, and it's really cute. I am named incorrectly. They named this crocodile Rosie, and I was like,
I saw that finally. I went to go look at the campaign, and I saw that. I think that's a reference to Rosie the Riveter.
I think so too. I think
And so
too.
that's why.
I don't care. I want to be a turtle.
That's Rosie. Oh, wait, look at this, by the way. There's a beta version on BGA, so we can play.
I've been playing it with some of my community, and it's really fun. If anyone wants to set that up on our Discord, I know we have like some BGA stuff going. It's a really great game to have turn-based because you don't need to keep remembering what your plans are because it's really face value. So it's really clever.
Nice.
And I think they've added some modules and expansion cards into the Kickstarter now, which makes it a bit crunchier. I've not played those, but the base game's very simple. It's like Azul, but simpler. So it means that I think mass market wise, it's going to do very well with Target and stuff like that because it's easier to learn than Azul, which Azul does very well.
It should be a really good cozy game entry point for people, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then we can say, if you like this, go play Flamecraft.
Nice. Yes.
If you like critters.
And then if you like critters, go check out Critter Kitchen. If you want to go one step beyond Flamecraft, did you see
We've got this scale of cozy complexity.
There we go. We'll get it all going. I love seeing more people come in the hobby as a result. Last week we talked about Gamma a little bit, and it was just great to talk to retailers that were like, I have Flamecraft on my first table when you come in. So it's just like, hey, welcome to the shop. Here's the kind of cool stuff you're going to find. I was like, oh, that is so neat to see that. In fact, I'm really looking forward to seeing, I talked to our partner who publishes Flamecraft in Thai, and they were like, oh, Flamecraft is big in Thailand. I was like, I can't wait to see a shop or a game cafe with Flamecraft in it.
There was actually a question asking, let me grab it. It was from earlier. I heard recipe cards. Have you all figured out how you're going to pick which submitted recipes go on them?
So yes. So what happened is we got over 100 recipes. Rosie had the first mission to go through and look at these recipes to make sure that they were about food. Because we got some random stuff. What we did is we were able to pick, we decided to put in a backer recipe for every one of the ingredients. So there's going to be one that represents meat. Like if there was a lot of different ones that had different meat. So we'll pick so we picked one that represents meat, representing carrots, representing bread, cheese, and so forth. Picked a drink recipe for the wine, not necessarily a wine recipe, but a drink recipe. And
wine was in a lot of the recipes, but in
So wine is kind of, we could have picked a number of recipes and said, that's the wine one, but we picked. And then we alerted those people so that those winners were notified. And then we also did one so it's 7 ingredients plus spices plus soup. Because I gotta have a soup recipe. This game has a lot of soup. And then finally, because there were so many dessert recipes, we boiled it down to 4, and now we're choosing the one that will become the one dessert recipe that's in the box, that's in that add-on.
Unsurprisingly, sweet food is more popular as a recipe.
I mean, people had, all of the sweet food covered. So we definitely are down to the final 4. And in today's update, it was a chance and you can do this until our next update. We're going to be taking votes. So you can actually bake, if you want to, the 4 finalists for the dessert category. So it's to answer the question, how many recipe cards are going to be pre-filled? You're going to get 72 blanks, and you're going to get 10 pre-filled recipes from backers, and then you're going to get a couple bonus designer specials. I don't know exactly how many of those are going to be yet.
I'm going to be including a sugar cookie recipe because if you've
Nice.
also got the cookie cutters, I want to make sure that you have a recipe that you can use for that, because a lot of cookies spread and you don't want that for your
so we'll have the best cookie recipe.
my if you have a better one, please shout about it. But like mine is simple and trusted. So yeah,
we'll have that. I believe Alex has got at least a chili in there.
He does. It sounds good.
So you're gonna get 72 blanks, plus you're gonna get the backer ones, plus you're gonna get some specials. And so those are all gonna be covered in the. So this is if you got the merch feast, which comes with the recipe card add-on, or if you added the recipe card add-on to your cart, you get all of these recipes. It's really fun. I'm so thankful that people participated and sent in recipes. You
don't have to do all 4. You could just do one of them, and then give us your. If you like it, you can like say.
Even if we got a thumbs up, like I tried the muffins and they're good.
Yeah,
that really helps because it was tough enough trying to pick a fish recipe and a meat recipe and so forth. We were going to potentially do this whole bracketed March Madness system. I am glad that we're not doing that because I can only imagine the people trying to like, I tried to cook this and my kitchen's up in flames now. Thanks a lot. So hopefully the 4 desserts is just the perfect mission here.
And if anyone does propose with the Marry Me brownies, do let us know.
That was a fun name of one of those 4. Oh, that reminds me of another random thing in letter. So I was going through all the letters. I'm on the last, this big batch, and I got another wedding invitation. This wedding invitation is in the UK. So Rosie, if you want to like crash a wedding, we got these. It's just awesome to get letters where it's like, here's an invitation to my wedding,
That's amazing. I love that it's sort of open to anyone in the team to appear. I think it's specifically you.
They didn't say that specifically, but I'm saying that you could.
I have crashed about 2 weddings in my life, so maybe I need to do the.
I mean, you already have it's like going to this particular wedding would be like, well, I already know they're gamers because they're playing Flamecraft and they're writing in.
Well, it's like there's a love letter wedding edition, and you can only buy them, and you have to buy them in bulk if you're officially getting married. So they're white love letter ones, and you can get them to have on your tables. So we need like a wedding Flamecraft.
Yeah, sure.
They're all in dresses and suits.
The dragons are up for the task. I mean, Taylor will get everybody.
I love that.
Ready for this.
Yeah, but no, I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. Depends when it falls. I might be at a convention.
Yeah. All right. Well, I will let everybody get back to their gaming weekends, I think.
Yes.
I've got more packing to do.
I was about to ask you what you're playing this weekend, but I think you're playing the game of fitting everything into a suitcase.
I am playing the game of 17-hour airfare to China. That is going to be something. I did look into how much it costs to get a bed seat. Oh my God, it's not happening. But that's okay. You
can watch all the Oscar-nominated movies. That's what I do when I'm on a flight.
I'm also apparently, if I don't get the letters done, I know what I'm doing on the plane. It is letter time. Oh man! And then I'm mailing.
I hope that goes well for you.
And then I'm mailing letters to the United States from China. This should be great. No, I'm going to try and do a bulk of these out the door before I go.
Yeah.
But I have to. There's so much to prepare. I mean, most of it's been ready because we finished the Andromeda's Edge files. And so I think I just get there and see the files in production. It's going to be so good. I love that you've already, Rosie, given me a shot list of what I need to be filming. So that's good. I'm going to go read that.
I mean, if I can get content, I will get content.
Right?
I'm not there, but you can get it. It's just some inspirational thoughts for while you're
Right.
there.
No, it's
Um,
good. It's very good. I will work on the shot list.
just
Meanwhile,
hopefully they'll let you film in the factories. I don't know. Some places,
oh, I did. No, I did talk to the owner at Longpack, and I said I'm going to film, right? And he was like, "Yes, you can totally film." So we're going to get some footage.
they'll put you in a
Of
long pack t-shirt and hat. You're ready to
Yeah,
go.
yeah. We don't know yet exactly, which plants are going to say, yes and no to certain areas or whatever, but I hope we'll see Andromeda's Edge on a lot of the machines, and so we'll get some good, solid, exciting footage.
So all I'm imagining is there's this TV show, I think it's called like How It's Made, where it
Yeah.
shows how biscuits and things are made. My favorite one was the resin food that they have in parts of Asia outside their restaurants because
Oh,
like
wow. Yeah.
fascinating, like resin fish and stuff. I'm just imagining just sheets of, printing onto the cardboard and all that stuff. So
Yeah, yeah. It's really interesting what parts are manual and which parts are automated. I think that's part of my goal is to see what machines can do what, because if we can make better games, if we can think about more, um, you know, friendly for the earth. I mean, if we can think about like all of the parts of this thing, and try and do better. Like for example, there's a type of recycled plastic called rewood that was used in a couple games so far, and I'd like to we're looking into that kind of stuff. Like what is possible when we make
yeah,
the trays? Can we reduce plastic and all that stuff is really some of it also is used to be that when you put card sheets, like 56 cards fit to a poker sheet. So that was good information to have, because if you're gonna make a mini card sheet, then it's 90 cards, and if you make a tarot card sheet, then it's this many cards. But I'd love to see like a little bit more about what the machines could do in terms of, like for example, in Andromeda's Edge, we decided to put it's another spoiler. There's something printed on the inside of the lid, and I had to talk to them about how the lid is constructed. Like and they were like, okay, the lid is printed flat at first, so you can print however you need to on this side, and then it will be assembled and so forth.
yeah,
So you can, just all those little nuances, you got to figure those things out before you say, I would definitely want this in the game, and then find out that would cost the plant, like not only is it going to cost money, but time,
yeah,
right? If they say, oh, well, we could do that. For example, I'll give you another one. We were going to put something attached to the inside lid of Andromeda's Edge, and possibly considering attaching with Velcro. And we eventually abandoned that idea because they were like, yeah, see, the problem is getting the Velcro exactly placed right every single time outside the machine is going to be a manual
yeah,
process. It's going to cost you this much time, and you're also going to see this percentage of errors because it's just going to be something we don't
yeah,
do. And that's the same kind of thing I want to learn about on Critter Kitchen. We were going to do the deluxe components on something other than wood, but we found out that the error rate would be too high for anything other than wood or
yeah.
cardboard. So those are the stuff that I think is going to be really, really
It does
interesting.
really help because I used to make a lot of enamel pins and I studied molding and casting. It really helped understanding what their
Yeah,
capabilities were. So, for example, the plate that they work on, if you go over 2 inches, and you can still go diagonally on the square because it's a square, you can make it longer, it costs way more because their
yeah,
machine is designed for a 2-inch plate.
2-inch
So,
plate,
all the
right?
stuff you're going to learn is going to help understand what you can extend and get more out of. And I know I saw that. What
And
you can
also
extend
just
and
use
get
duct
more out of.
tape. Yeah,
Just duct tape. I find it really fascinating just seeing how things are made, and then you can go, well, actually, that means we can do this, this, and
yeah.
this with this machine.
No,
Um,
it's going to lead to tons of deluxification ideas. Is what it's going to lead to. It's like, oh, if you have that machine, then we can do this, right?
yeah,
They're going to love it because I'm going to definitely come up with stuff. The other thing that I'm doing, which is not related to the Chinese factory, but is related to making things, is in Thailand, I'm taking cooking classes. I'm so excited for this part of it. I just want to I want to absolutely learn everything there is about different spices that I could like how to get those flavors. Mm.
that's awesome. Doug's done a couple of like Singaporean cooking classes in London, and he always comes back with the most hottest food.
Yeah,
He's like, do you want to try this? And I'm like, I'll try a little bit, and then I will eat a ton of yogurt. Because
yeah.
British wimp. What can I
You
say?
gotta build up, because I remember one summer I was eating a lot of Thai food because I was a coworker was making fresh dishes every day and bringing them in. Like, she just made too much, and so she was bringing it in every day. And I remember the first time we ate that food in the lunchroom, we were like burning like we could not eat it. But by the end of the summer, we're like, "Is this the best you? This is the hottest you got? Come on!" So yeah, it should be
Yeah.
fun. I
I'm
have.
very jealous. I love a masa man, and I think
Oh yeah,
you're gonna get to have at least one of those. And tom yam soup. Oh, I love Thai food. I love Asian food.
yeah.
I've got a curry
Apparently,
tonight, but it's tikka masala, which is the most British curry you
yeah,
could, I think,
right.
get. So
I think
yeah,
Sandara has promised that there are some Singaporean little enclaves of different food things that she's found that she's going to show me. So that's going to be fun.
she's gonna try and blow your head off. So it's gonna
I mean, yeah, well, so we're going to find out what the real deal is.
beware the black chilies, says Carmen. So write that
Yeah.
down.
All right. Good to know.
I also
Excellent.
love new Critter Kitchen recipes coming because you're literally gonna go and
That's right. It might be like we're turning in the files and it's like, wait, why are all 72 cards with Thai recipes on them? What the heck happened?
yeah.
Well, we just wanted to share, everybody. Anyway, everyone have a nice weekend. Play all the games I can't play. I will just go look at how the games are getting made. We'll talk more about that. Rosie, thank you for carrying on for a
Oh
couple
well,
weeks.
if you have any ideas of what you want me to do in some lives, whether you want to like play a game or talk about something specifically, or I don't
Yeah.
know, a tour of all of the board games that I own because they're in 400. Whatever, just let me know on the Discord. And also, if you enjoyed this, please like the video, subscribe
Thank
if you're
you.
not subscribed, maybe leave a little comment because
Go
that helps
brag
us.
on the Facebook group that you saw the first Flamebound stuff.
Yeah, go brag on the Facebook group. Just all that stuff.
Appreciate it, everybody. All right, game
Thank
on.
you. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.